Absolutely. So thank you, first of all, for inviting me to be a part of this. Always wonderful to be able to collaborate all of the leaders at eXp. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Michael Valdes. I'm the president of eXp. I joined eXp in May of last year. We've done a lot in that short period of time. Prior to that, I was the senior vice president of Realogy for 15 years. And so I ran all of the international business for all of the Realogy brands, which included Sotheby's, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, ERA, Better Homes and Garden, and Court. Collectively, it was 100 countries and about 300,000 agents. And so I met Glenn probably about, oh gosh, a little over a year ago now. We started conversations. I joined in May. We haven't looked back. Last year, we opened 5 countries. We opened South Africa, Mexico, Portugal, and France. We announced our Q1 countries, one of which we've already done, which is Puerto Rico. We're opening Brazil in a couple of weeks. Next month, we're doing Italy and Hong Kong. So really, we are really just geared up, and a lot of stuff that's happening this year.
Well, we know you're killing it, so it's really exciting, and I can't wait to continue to see where we go. So kind of starting with some of the questions. So how do you overcome the objection that eXp is not established in my market? Obviously, you know, opening other countries, sharing the potential opportunity with agents before you're open. How are you guys handling that objection?
So we're doing that a couple of things. First of all, we're not getting that objection. That you'd be surprised how much our news is getting out there. It's really exciting to know that this growth is happening organically, affecting content for us as a brand. So we're looking at this a global brand. So we're looking at where those countries are that'll give us the best heads, if you will. There's also a lot of organic growth that already happened in the eXp family. These 43,000 agents have a lot of connections around the globe. And so we've set up a website called eXp Global Partners, which allows anyone to come in and the interest of a country to consider. As we start looking at that critical mass we start looking at our next selection of countries would be and what makes sense based on the footprint we already have. So we don't have that objection as much as you would think. And the fact is that, you know, the news that's being written of eXp on a global talking to people in Hong Kong who are already investors, and they already know the story, and they know how much the story is in before I even get on a call with them. So it's amazing how much this story has taken around the world.
That's awesome. I love it. And I remember when we first started here in the US, I mean, that's definitely some, an initial objection, but I think it's all more mindset more than anything. It never was really a problem.
1,000,000%. That's right.
Right. So what are the goals for eXp Global in the next 5 years? I mean, you've been with eXp for what, a year, and you've already opened up, a bunch of countries. Where do you see eXp in 5 years?
So I can't give you agent counts. I can't give you can't give you country counts, but I can tell you it's going to be incredibly aggressive growth. We are looking at ending the year with a country count that starts with a 2, and that's sort of where the focus is right now. We were 3 countries. We're in 10 now. I've been here for 9 months. And so by the end of this quarter, meaning the end of March, we'll be in 13 countries. And so we're running quickly. And this is building a global brand in 5 years. That's a big number. I have the rest of this year planned out in my head pretty much. And we're looking at where up this year in order to plan for next. But we're starting thinking about next year also being a cohesive plan. There's some things that take a lot longer based on where we want to be and some regulations might be in those countries, especially some Asian countries. And so we're already pre-building what will be our Q4 goals, and maybe even going into what we want. So there's a lot of prep work that happens. And so I don't have a 5-year plan. I sort of look at what our objectives are in a very short term, because we are running very, very quickly already. And so, if you ask Glenn doesn't have a 5-year plan either. And so it's one of these things that we're growing as rapidly as we are. And I think that there's adjustments that happen with the growth and the trajectory that we're doing as quickly as we're doing, that the 5-year plan will probably be scrapped anyway if we were to say it. So it's the idea that we are still this incredible 10-year-old company, 11-year-old company that's, you know, a 10.5 billion market cap company that still feels like a startup, incredibly agile.
No, absolutely. I love it. And you answered it perfectly. So for agents, maybe, you know, and looking at other countries, they want to expand in other markets. Maybe they don't have a sphere. How do you attract in other countries? And more importantly, what do you see that top attractors are doing? What kind of scripts are they using to attract other countries where you may not have any previous relationships?
So remember, everyone starts with a sphere. Everyone has a sphere. And so it's the idea that one has someone that they know somewhere, somehow, some way. And it's looking back to what your sphere really is. You know, everyone that's been on this earth for some time knows some people. And so it's always connected to someone. It's always like that 6 degrees of separation. And it's always the idea of telling the story, but it's telling the story. Because what we do is that we have a different model in every country that we're in. Because what I do is that keep the core basics of what eXp is, with really generous commissions, with the ability to earn your stock rewards, for the ability to have your revenue share. That's where the similarities end, because we want to be able to be as competitive as we can in the marketplace. And one of the greatest things that we do is, going back to that word agile, is that studying the marketplace. We tweak our model enough to be able to be really attractive in the market we're in. And so we've seen that in all of the markets, or especially the new ones, where people look at our model as really attractive and can't compete with us with everything else that we offer. And so that's what's really interesting there. So every country open has its own page and its own website and its own model. So all of that, if you go back to that expglobal.partners, that's currently updated so that we have toggle map as to where that toggle map will take you to the landing page of that particular country. It will take you through that model country. Now that's being ready in the next week or so. Right now, that's sort of where you can find a lot of that stuff. If it's a country that we're not in yet, what we're looking for is that critical mass, right? And it's also the idea of what we're building. So if you start looking at where the map is now, we're looking at strategic countries that will continue to feed the places we're in now, that we have the roadmap as we continue to go, and it makes sense for us.
Awesome. And that kind of leads into my next question, which I think you pretty much answered it, unless there's other resources. So what resources do you have? You know, obviously every country is structured a little bit different. So can agents find all that information on the eXp Global site?
So yes, they can find it in the landing page of each of the countries that we're in now. If it's a country that we're not in, there's a really large process that goes through. We, as we all know, are a franchise, so we own everything that we do. So we have to go into every single country, hire local, be able to open a corporation in that country that's fully owned by eXp World Holdings and eXp Global. And so that becomes the idea that we actually have to build everything. So we start with finance, with the banking relationship. So everything starts from scratch. And so that's why we select the countries in a way that makes sense for the overall story that we're building, because we have a certain amount of hard costs that we're doing, whether we're going into a country with 1 billion people or a country with 100,000 people. Our hard costs don't change. And so that's why we have to be selective and strategic in what we're building and how we're building it.
What would you say is your biggest competitor globally? Is there one that just stands out?
So there really isn't. So, you know, because real estate is so low around the globe, certain competitors strong in certain markets. I mean, that's the beauty of what we're building. We're building that is not a French company. It's a company that's wholly owned by all of us. And it's the idea that we are building a global company that is not franchised, and it allows us to have great freedom, great control of our brand, no dilution of our brand, because everyone is an employee, right? So all of the country leaders are always on my team. And if I sort of get a negative sort of like comment on something, we'll deal with it. So it's the idea that we have great quality control of this brand that we're building. So, you know, obviously we have competitors in different markets, right? And in Europe, there's a strong competitor called IA that's only in 5 countries in Europe. But they have a very similar model to us, right? And so they have 10,000 agents. They're in Spain, they're in Portugal. They just bought another company in Mexico. And so, but if we can, for example, if we were to look at Germany, Engel and Volkers has a strong market in Germany, but it's a traditional brokerage. So to me, they're not a competitor. Obviously, Keller Williams in many places. So I don't think we have one competitor, which is good for us.
Right.
Because we'll become that benchmark.
No, I love it. Right. We're in a whole different box. So based on, kind of explain the revenue share, obviously with the different fee structures in all the different countries, how is that going to impact revenue share and, US based agents attracting in other countries?
So as you know, we're going to be introducing my eXp next month, which is the dashboard that allows all of the agents around the world to sponsor anybody else around the world, not just US based, but anywhere around the globe. And so the tech team has been incredible in building this. You can imagine that there are different technologies around the globe. So the US and Canada use Enterprise and Australia on bespoke systems. And then every other country system that we could actually grow. So all those systems need to talk to one another right now in order to get that global revenue share and to be able to sort of see what we have. That was a Herculean task, now been pretty much completed. And we will be introducing that in March, which will be a game changer for all of us here and for really the industry to be able to see that. So we'll be able to see all of our efforts around the globe at that point in time. So just hang on, next month, you'll all be able to see it.
I love it. You said it's going to be called My eXp?
My eXp. It's a dashboard out. You'll be able to see everyone in your downline. You'll be able to see their production in currency. So if you have somebody that's in France, it'll be all in euros. It will all be reconciled to your currency depending on where you are in the world. So if you're US, obviously USD. If you're in Canada, and Canadian dollars. So anywhere that you are in the world will actually reconcile your downline to your own currency.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What countries?
And then you'll actually be able to see, sorry, Micah, you'll actually be able to see, about this one, you'll be able to see their production. You'll be able to sort of, if somebody, look, it's sort of like some of these incredible leaders that are probably in your room right now that may have hundreds of people in your downline, right? It's possible to be able to communicate with all of them, but you'll be able to see if somebody is not sort of doing as well as maybe others are in your own growth line, that maybe you could actually pick up the phone and encourage them. This is going to be a game changer for all of us because it's impossible for us to keep track of 300, 400, 500 people, right? And so technology will. You'll actually be able to see who's performing, who's not, who you want to call. It's going to be amazing. So I'm so excited about this.
That's awesome. No, you don't see everybody here, but everybody's like really excited now.
Yeah. So am I.
I get distracted with all their movements and everything. So what countries this year? I know you mentioned you were hoping to in the year, maybe in the twos. What countries right now do you feel there's the biggest opportunity?
That's such a cute way to get there. Can't do it. We're a publicly traded company, so I count the countries that will be entering. I can tell you we're trying to be very strategic. So we're coming in Hong Kong, for example, before the end of this quarter. And obviously we want to have that as a foothold for other countries that we want to be throughout Asia. We want to fill in a lot of continental Europe. We want to be able to do more in South America. So those are real focus that we have for this year. Idea is that it will all be strategic.
That's awesome. I love it.
And I'd love to tell you, but I
can't. The suspension is good.
So I will tell you this. On March 5th, I'm going to be joining Glenn and Jeff on the Investor Summit stage. We will be announcing our Q2 countries live on the stage.
Do what?
I think you misunderstood the question. I think we want to know which country is coming online.
Okay, so they want to rephrase the question. So
sure.
who we're in right now, what are the biggest countries that you see the best opportunity based on what we're already announced and already open with?
Oh, great. No, that's easy. So Mexico, for example, in open 5 weeks, I think it's been, we have 500 agents in Mexico in different stages of onboarding, with almost 300 are fully onboarded already. It's been an incredible pipeline that we've had, an incredible response. Ismael Gonzalez, the broker record, extraordinary with his leadership there. India has been amazing. We are about to announce very large team, 100-member team coming from a competitor that we are about to announce soon. So there's a lot of that's happening. There's a lot of excitement that's happening around Brazil. Brazil, we have 1,500 registered for our webinar in Brazil. And that was in Portuguese. We're doing the English version of the Portuguese model on the 17th. So what's today, the 11th? So next Wednesday, we'll be doing the English version of the Portuguese model. So there's a lot of excitement around Brazil, And so this is a platform. There's 500,000 licensed agents in Brazil. 60% of those are independent agents that are not with a large franchise. And so if you start thinking about it, we are a business model. We are perfect for somebody to join and be able to have a global brand behind them. It's a no-brainer for Brazil. We are so excited about Brazil.
That's awesome. And we were able to pull some of that out of you. So no, I appreciate that. I'm gonna pause real quick and see, does anybody have any other questions that you want him to elaborate on, or because you answered a lot of mine pretty quick. Anybody? Okay, so question is, how do you deal with some of these countries that they don't have an MLS system?
So there's only 3 countries outside the United States that does. So we are, we sort of like, I came from that. In Realogy, I covered 113 countries around the world. So MLS is not real. So in what regard are they asking? Are they asking in regards to what, lead generation, or what's the question in reference to MLS?
How are the agents in the countries that don't have an MLS, how are they accessing properties? I mean, how is that structured?
So there are always real estate portals around every country. And so a lot of those countries are operating through those portals. We feed into all of those portals. We also created our own CRM and lead generation for all of these different countries that we're going into. We are building a lead gen that goes directly to those agents for that. But every single country has a listing distribution portal, and some of them are more important than others. And so we always participate in the top listing portals in any country. And then our internal bespoke system becomes yet another portal that becomes proprietary for in order to get that lead gen and everything else. So we are pushing to get the eXp site to actually be that main portal country we're in.
That's awesome. And your audio cut out a little bit, but just to kind of recap what I think I heard, just because there was a little bit of a pause, is that basically eXp is partnering up with those syndications and creating their own portal that will be an advantage from an agent attraction standpoint.
So what I said was that we would actually participate in all of the main portals in every country that we're in, but then what we're building internally is actually another consumer portal that will actually we're pushing to make that the main portal in country.
Awesome, thank you. And I'm sorry for making you repeat that. It just our connection a bit.
No, I'm absolutely fine.
Any other questions? Anybody? Good. Oh, Hamudi wants to know, are you always smiling?
Yes.
And Louis wants to know, they want to know how you get your teeth so white. like for real, they said they want to know.
I tan.
You guys are laughing over here. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michael. I know that you're busy. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, Micah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.